The market just exploded higher after Trump's victory. But while most investors are chasing this rally, I have identified 3 stocks with the perfect technical setups that are ready to move right now. As market speculators, we do not care where the market is going. We just want to know, can we profit from it? I'm going to show you 3 stocks showing clear signals, including an A+ setup, which is as perfect as they come. As an investor with half a decade of experience, I am now helping hundreds of investors and traders to spot winning setups through my Profit Punch newsletter. My technical analysis has helped my newsletter subscribers catch some massive winners. Like SMCI, we saw a 240% gain this year, NVDA 180% gain, Upfolio 250% gain. If you want more setups like this delivered to your inbox, grab my free newsletter, link in the description. I send out my most profitable stock analysis every week. Now let's dig deeper into these 3 powerful setups that are forming right now. The first one is DraftKings. It's already on your screen. Did you not get the hint? I like to show you these stocks, but I also like to show you why they are good. So in my chart, I have these color codes. When it's green, that means that the volume was 50% above the 50 simple moving average. And when it's yellow, there was tight price action. This is the weekly chart, and I have 2 moving averages. The 10-week and the 30-week moving average, you need to have those. And I have my return on equity here to help me with the fundamentals. I have the earnings table over here. So this is like a pilot. You have to have all your gauges to know how the stock is doing. So what are we seeing with DraftKings? We're seeing something like an inverted head and shoulders pattern, right? So it's coming down, seems to want to form a shoulder on here, forms a deep base, and then forms another shoulder. Isn't that beautiful? But then what do we see? While it's going up, the volume is looking good. In the dry up, the volume is always below the moving average. And then here, the volume breaks out. Now that it's looking good on the weekly chart as investors, we go to the daily chart, and then we can see where we can go. So this video is for investors. If you're a trader, you need tighter stops. But as an investor, you can always take a bigger risk. As soon as it comes in on Monday, you can buy it here at $40. Stop can be around 36 because you don't want it to fill that gap. A second stop can also be here around 35 because you don't want it to go below there. So after such big moves, you can expect the stock to go up for some time. So we can see it did something like this before. It formed a big cup and handle here, broke up on this huge green volume as we can see, and the stock went up about 137%. And then you could have sold it here once it closed under the 30-week moving average. So now we see a huge opportunity. This is a C+ setup, so it's the worst of the 3 stocks. And then we go on to the next stock, which is an A+ setup, and that is GCT. Now this is better than the previous one. Of course, we start with the weekly chart. You always want to use two time frames as an investor. Every person that's in the market should use 2 time frames. You want to have your weekly chart, and then you want to have your daily chart. So you always have a 1 to 5. So if you're a day trader, use 1 minute versus 5 minutes. But this video is for investors. So what are we seeing here? We see a huge trend line was just violated. So it's breaking out on the bullish side, forms a flag on the weekly chart, right? Forms a little bit of a consolidation here. And in that consolidation, the correction, we see low volume. But while it was going up, rushing up here, there's high volume. And then on this breakout, then it has a lot of volume. The volume is 60% above what it is supposed to be doing normally. That means there are big dogs in this. And we saw this previously in GCT. So the reason why I really like GCT is that this is a new stock. It's about to go to all-time highs. There's one huge resistance over here. The less resistance a stock has, the better. So this one has one huge resistance here, this all-time resistance. So that's a level that we have to look out for as investors. But before it reaches there, there's still a good chunk of like a 60% move. But let's see what happened before, right? It did form a violation here. As we can see, corrected for a little while on low volume. The same thing that's happening here, and broke out on this big green candle on earnings. And then what happened? The stock went up 293%. So if you put in $10,000, it became $40,000. So then it has corrected and it's forming the same move again. So after that, we go to our daily chart. The daily chart is where we decide It's a needle where you can see where should I get in exactly. So this is the move that we don't want to wait for as investors, as traders. Also, you can still get in here as a trader, but this video is for investors currently. People who just want to put their money in a stock and forget it for a while. So you buy it over here on Monday. Stop can be here around $24, or you can put right below this low. This is a volatile stock that moves out a lot, right? So you don't want to be putting in a huge percentage of your account, but this is one of those stocks that can easily move up 3 times or 4 times your money. It can also easily double, so it's really good. It's showing great fundamentals. When we look at the earnings of the stock, the earnings are beautiful as well. We want to see earnings per share above 30% for the last 4 quarters. This one is blowing that out of the water. It has very high revenue, is growing very well. Return on equity is great. This is an A+. The fundamentals are looking really good, you know. It's a previous IPO, and then I think it's headed for a very huge move. The next stock, which is the best out of all of this, is, drum rolls, VST. VST has already done some beautiful things for us this year. Now, why is this a very good stock? So normally, the stocks move in industries, right? So the first thing that we have to do is to see the industry going up. And stocks in this industry have been going up. I can show you. So there's CEG. You can see a huge move this year. There's TLN. Just broke out again recently with very similar pattern. There's NRG. Also is breaking out with a very similar pattern. So the reason why this is a very good buy is that it has run up on volume, corrects on low volume. Breaks out again on huge weekly volume. Whenever you see huge weekly volume, that means they're big dogs, and especially when it's on the breakout, it's a good buy. The earnings per share growth and the revenue growth are not looking that great. But we ignore those for now because the industry is very strong and the stock itself is very strong. If I show you the relative strength, you can see the relative strength is above 0. That means it's way stronger than the market, and it's now above the moving average of the relative strength. This is a good indicator to check. So when we go into the weekly chart, this is where we see the details of where we should put our stops. So just like I showed you, very aggressive investor, put your stop here around 10% down, right? You don't want it to fill that gap. That's a first. Also, for a better stop where you would know that you're clearly wrong would be around $108. So this is a stock that you can hold for a while, right? Because these are weekly moves, and such big, huge weekly breakout lead to big moves, as we saw what this stock did before, right? So when it broke out, the last time it broke out, this level here, it had this huge multi-year breakout. What happened? The stock went up 280%. So that's almost 4 times your money. So that's the same thing that can happen here. But that's why we have a stop loss, because we never know. Things could go wrong, right? That's why we have to always be careful. And I'll just give you one extra. NRG. It's also breaking out. We see a good pattern on the weekly chart. We can ride this for a while. Now, for those who are subscribed to my newsletter, there are guides on how to sell your stock. There are guides on how to buy your stock and how to handle your stock. So if you are watching this and you want this for yourself as well, please sign up for the newsletter. This information is going to be beautifully put there. If you like this video, please check out this other video where I share the philosophies behind how I choose these stocks. Thank you.